Hello, my name is Susanna Kopecki, and thank you for tuning in to my final project for Library 220. For my project, let me provide some context. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation which explains the roles of map librarians, why students should care about maps in GIS, and why it's important to get to know their college librarians. My intended audience is an audience of undergraduate students at the university level, specifically an audience of freshman students who would otherwise not ask for help and who do not fully grasp the role of the map and the GIS librarian. So this is meant to inform students, answer some basic questions, and really ease some of any fears they might have about contacting the librarian. Hello and welcome to the presentation on maps and GIS librarians at your university. When you think of maps, what image comes to mind? Perhaps the image of a dusty treasure map comes to mind, or a dust-encased room. However, maps are alive and well, and in a sense, maps really are everywhere. Hopefully this presentation will show you how maps still continue to be very important and relevant today, even in an era in which technological marvels such as iPhones, laptops, amazing technology reigns supreme. The map and its various incarnations continues to provide great importance for all of us. As foot and crumb notes in cartography as communication, maps can be understood as a form of visual communication, a special purpose language for describing spatial relationships. And the word spatial just refers to the relationship between two or more items, how close they are, how they are related to each other. Maps have great potential for mapping out much more than just the traditional continent, forest, and mountain, however. They are, as Foot and Crumb point out, really symbolic abstractions or representations of real-world phenomena. So how do we understand maps? Foot and Crumb provide a number of useful definitions of maps, and they also discuss the more symbolic nature of maps. Maps, as you may be noticing, are very multifaceted things, and thus are very much worthy of your attention and time. You might be wondering, okay, but what exactly is a map and GIS librarian, and how does one become that kind of librarian? Well, maps and GIS librarians have many different skills, and in a sense, they wear many different hats. As Aber points out, map librarians combine knowledge of map basics and the geosciences with technical knowledge of reference, collection development, cataloging, and preservation. Maps librarians have also undergone specialized years of training to be experts at handling both physical maps and understanding how GIS applications work on our computers. On top of that, your school's map and GIS librarian is very friendly, and we will talk about him later on in the presentation. But what exactly is a Maps and GIS librarian expected to do each and every day? Just a few of their expected functions include collection management, troubleshooting any issues which may arise concerning both paper collections of maps and online maps in GIS. These librarians are also teachers who visit classrooms and instruct students and faculty alike on the resources and how to use them. They also catalog maps, are expert document holders, they assist with a wide variety of research, and they create library guides, which are basically online paths for you to take in order to successfully research. Which are basically online tasks for you to take in order to successfully research. Now that we've looked at the typical job functions of a Maps and GIS librarian, let's think about the skill sets they need in order to accomplish these many things. Just a few of the important skill sets that a good Maps and GIS librarian has include being able to read and interpret maps and what that information is saying. They have to be able to convey information clearly. They need a good understanding of the physical layout of a library and of the online articles and online resources, such as electronic books, a library offer, and they also need to have a working knowledge of GIS applications. So now we know a little bit about the job requirements and the skills needed to be a GIS and Maps librarian, but now let's think about what their goals are. These librarians work very hard to gain access to resources and information so that students such as yourself can obtain and use that information. These librarians also want to teach students how to master GIS, and they want to share a large variety of data across a wide network. They also need to make sure that students and other users are well educated in terms of how to use the software accurately. These librarians must be creative and judicious in their use of time. They want to obtain and share data, but there simply is not enough manpower or time to provide everything they would like. So that is one concern. Another thing to be aware of is that the role of maps and GIS in the typical library has both changed dramatically and in some ways stayed the same in recent years. Maps librarians are specially trained, but they constantly need to keep up with the consistently changing technology. So keep in mind that these people are up to date and they want to help you become up to date in technology as well. They're also the best friends you can have when you need to better understand data points, need to read a historic map, or you want to learn how to present data visualization, not necessarily just for science projects either. So we've mentioned GIS, but what exactly does that mean? Well, information which was found and charted on physical maps in the past is now able to be charted on digital maps via GIS, which stands for Geographic Information Systems applications. GIS software can show elevations, population densities, crop and soil types, and much more, much like print maps could previously and still can. But an added benefit of GIS is the ability to really engage and manipulate the data, work with it, and make it work for you in an interactive manner. If you still feel a little bit lost, that's okay. This is a new and exciting, and at times difficult to truly grasp, concept until you've actually seen it. But other forms of GIS, let's consider. Have you ever used a smartphone app to map out a location? Or looked at any kind of digital map via Google Maps and so forth in order to visualize some sort of information? The chances are very good that you have already used GIS technology. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, GIS is a computer system capable of capturing, storing, analyzing, and displaying geographically referenced information. that is, data identified according to location. Practitioners also define GIS as including the procedures, operating personnel, and spatial data that go into the system. GIS software can also have many other applications, however, which our GIS and map librarians can teach you about and can show you how to use these in a broad array of contexts. GIS is part of the grand move from paper to digital. Maps librarians are on the cutting edge, along with their cutting-edge knowledge of GIS. Common GIS programs, which you may find in a typical academic library or other organization that heavily requires GIS data, may include some of the following: ArcView, ArcGIS, Imagine, GeoMedia, Remote View, and many more. On our library computers, you will notice we have ArcGIS open to all currently enrolled students. These are also programs that are offered for your use for free. If not at the library, or if you were not an enrolled student, these applications could be very expensive. So in theory, hypothetically, GIS may start to sound pretty good to you right about now. However, for many majors, GIS will be an integral element in much of your coursework. For example, if your major or projected major may include geology, geography, city and regional planning, architecture, any variety of engineering majors, biology, chemistry, environmental science or environmental resource management, and math, then you may find yourself using GIS software fairly regularly. And recall that learning GIS is free, and we have very willing and able librarians who are looking for the opportunity to assist you. So what does GIS look like? Well, as you see, this is a map. This map is of Burundi, and it was accessed through the U.S. Geological Survey's online maps and aerial photo repository. This is GIS in action. Perhaps you'll visit this country one day, thanks to GIS showing you what it looks like. But GIS is not so very scary, and it looks an awful lot like the maps we are already familiar with. GIS can be used for educational purposes and for personal purposes. If you're planning a beach hike or a camping weekend with some friends, GIS software can help you to prepare for the specific terrain and to understand your site's layout before you even arrive. Here is another map via GIS, thanks to the USGS. It is a topographic map of Smuggler's Cove around Pismo Beach, California. This particular map shows elevation, proximity to the water, latitude and longitude, and more. This can be very helpful as you prepare for your journey to this specific destination and understand how best to prepare and what to look for. So now that you've learned that GIS and maps really aren't so scary, and in fact can have many applications for you, personally and professionally, how do you get started getting involved with our particular library? Are you ready? I hope you are. The first step is to introduce yourself to our MAPS librarian. At our university, San Luis State University, the Maps and GIS librarian is Herbert Smith. Herbert's office is located in room 2204 on the second floor of the San Luis State University Library, which is Building 10, located on the northwest end of campus, next to the cafeteria. Following will be some easy steps to acquaint yourself with our friendly and knowledgeable MAPS librarian, Herbert Smith. Herbert's Math's office hours are Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. These are considered open office hours, so you can drop by and say hello during these times, or during any time you see him. You can also make appointments with Herbert by emailing him. His email address is on the screen, and it is herbertsmith@sanluisstate.edu. Herbert will aim to reply to your email within 24 hours, and he really is friendly. He is regularly in his office during the office hour times above. He can also frequently be found roaming the library and assisting students in need. Before or after you introduce yourself and get an official tour from Herbert, you can familiarize yourself with the maps and GIS resources our library has to offer. In the library, the computers with GIS software installed are located in room 1100 on the first floor. Using your student ID and your password, log on to a computer in room 1100 and open one of the GIS software programs, such as ArcGIS. Look around it and get a feel for its layout. Roam around the library and take a look at the many materials we have to offer. Remember, this is your library too. Also in room 1100 is the library's historic map collection. The maps are organized according to various criteria, including those maps filed in the local maps collection, specialized maps, oversized maps, and state maps. If you would like help looking at the maps, a reference assistant at the reference desk, which is also located in room 1100, would be happy to assist you. Herbert can also frequently be found at the reference desk in the afternoons, Monday through Friday, between 12 and 3 p.m. If you've reached this point in the presentation, it means you are finished. Thank you for your time and for taking the opportunity to find out a little more about the services we provide when it comes to your maps and GIS needs. We hope you learned something, and we hope that maps and GIS seem exciting to you, as they really are. We also hope you will take the opportunity to learn more about maps and GIS and the services we offer to you through our library. We hope to see you soon.